Good afternoon from the United Arab Emirates. This is a second session related to concepts for career choice and development for rewiring your behaviors. We talked a bit the other day about matching, specifically focusing on John Holland, and we're going to take that a little bit further today. And there'll be 3 sessions all in all related to these topics: the matching, boundaryless protean careers, and then the postmodern constructivist narrative with Mark Savickas. Here in the United Arab Emirates, federation, which has now been in existence for 51 years, you can track a change from living to work through to working to live, and the diversification of work from jobs to careers. Having lived here since 1995, I have personally firsthand observed and witnessed, along with actively participating in the changes that have been going on with this journey. Before the discovery of the oil and gas, UAE was predominantly the 7 states that lived off the land or from the sea: fishing and pearl diving, farming, agriculture, dates and shepherding. There were some government jobs and family businesses, but this grew exponentially once the oil was found. And then it could be observed quite clearly as the world of work started to see matching careers to people in its infancy, as described by John Holland, 1985, rather than governments or family business. The idea that people have different patterns of interests is relevant here in the sense that their choices were defined by the industry rather than by the individual. The changes that have taken place are sociological in the first instance, gradually becoming intertwined with the psychological as UAE moved into positioning itself as a global player. Over the past 50 plus years, from pearl diving to space, farming to solar energy and wind farms, quite an achievement in a very short time, and remarkable. And yes, now into sustainability and COP28 this year in Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. Crumboltz of 1994 suggested that a theory is a way of explaining what we observe, which makes sense logically. Is also a process that enables us to make sense of our narrative based on our life experiences and our journey through and as part of our development, which is why I'm always talking about writing your own career narrative. To break it down is a way of summarizing everything down to a few principles. In essence, the word theory is a methodology and guide that enables and facilitates our life and work journey. And that's where we now move into more detail with dear John Holland, who proposes that there are clearly 2 types of routes: vocational and or occupational. And then you've also, if you break that down even further, academic or vocational. Private sector, government sector, SME, entrepreneur, and with that, variation on all of it. Some people work in government sector and have private businesses and manage to move between the 2 fairly effectively. Now, in 2023, we're seeing a huge drive, much more defined and with penalties to get international companies, small companies with more than 50 employees to look at recruiting Emiratis and investing in them. So investing in Emiratis, because this is the country where you're living and working, and giving something back, paying forward rather than just sending your remittances back to your home country. So along with that, we have to look at the journey of work and then later careers, where people weren't able to make their own choices, but were pressured by situations, circumstances, peer group, and the opportunities for different access to different kinds of education. Way back, people used to go overseas for university education or go to Sandhurst, perhaps in UK, for the military. Whereas now there are huge numbers of extremely well-recognized, efficient and productive and esteemed establishments within the UAE, whether that be Sorbonne, New York University, British University, Birmingham. There's so many. Stirling, University of Bolton. University of Bolton is the second biggest campus outside of the United Kingdom, here in Ras Al Khaimah. And Stirling is here. You have all the American universities, Ras Al Khaimah, Sharjah, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Canadian University in Al Quain. So there's a lot of range and choice. Sheikh Khalifa University, Zayed University. There's huge range of opportunities and studies, and people also do not secondments, have sabbaticals, and they actually do transfers between other universities in different countries. So we have things like, and we have better access for people of determination, which is fabulous, because in 1995, you didn't really see a lot of people of determination around and about in the community, very much more at home. But you see people living their lives, living their best lives, and making contributions to their communities. There are a lot of assumptions which can deflect from the reality of a given situation and place, all in circumstances, depending on where the person is and possibly finding themselves conflicted. Because in the past, people have been pushed, persuaded, encouraged, nurtured towards not banking, not hospitality, more to do with health, like doctors, and to do with engineering, to do with accountancy and those kind of professions. Now you see a lot more variety. So the UAE nationals are as diverse as the Emirates themselves. And the education has changed dramatically. You have a lot of PhD holders now, which is absolutely fabulous to see and to know and witness, because it's real. It's got empirically based research and empirically based experience here in the UAE. When making assumptions about both people and occupations, there has been considerable stereotyping, leading to dissatisfaction, disappointment for individuals and institutions. The assumptions of what men and women will and can and wish to do. I can remember back in about 2003, where women who worked in IT weren't able. They were able, but they weren't allowed or enabled to do shifts or to do work in different parts of the Emirates. That was particularly Abu Dhabi. I can't speak for the others. But you didn't see pilots necessarily being women. Now you have Major Mansouri, fighter jet pilot, and her sister with Emirates Airline. So there's huge changes. And now this year, we have a female astronaut candidate as well. The matching became a shift towards people to careers or jobs as the country itself developed and the government began to adapt and adopt public policies, looking more to actually taking advantage and capitalizing on the population of the Emiratis and them wanting to contribute to their country. When this all started happening, there's quite a big backlash from some of the expats, which can be understood to a certain extent, because some expats don't have somewhere that they can go back to readily and easily, and many have been born, raised, and feel that UAE is home. So there's a lot going on, but it's a fascinating place. It's an amazing place, and it's hugely exhilarating to work and live here. So I'll close off for today, and we'll speak again when we look at the boundaryless and Protean careers, particularly looking at Arthur and Rousseau from 1995 and Douglas Hall in 2002 within organisations where careers and pathways were mapped out with points of entry and progression charted. So career progression, career engagement, employee engagement as well. So thank you for your ears. Have a good evening or time wherever you are.